shook. What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It is Miss Jourdy, and we have just wrapped up another episode of Attack on Titan, episode 72, Children of the Forest, which, before I get into anything, the name Children of the Forest is a beautiful name for this episode, to be quite frank. But anyway, I'm about to break it down, review my thoughts, everything. Y'all, holy smokes. This one... Hey, yo, like I've been saying, Attack on Titan haven't missed, and they still haven't missed. I got all my notes written, so let's get into it. By the way, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss a moment of the content or any episode for Attack on Titan. Wow. Whew. Okay, first and foremost, when we enter this episode, it's sort of uncertain what we're looking at, but obviously what we're seeing is gas, and it's filling this area full of people, and then later on we find out that they are the subjects of Ymir, aka Eldians, that are in a village still on the island. But Zeke is explaining how when people smell and breathe in essentially his spinal fluid, that they turn into Titans. Now it's alluded to the fact that they freeze, and then once he makes the call, does the paths, I believe he calls it, they turn into Titans. So that's the first thing we see. He's breaking that down to Levi. Uncertain at this point of the episode why, but later on we'll get into what makes sense and why they said this. So now the part that I'm really I'm gonna do it scene by scene. Y'all know how this goes if you've watched these reviews before. So listen, we first get into the restaurant where Gabby and Falco, they're obviously with these parents and this group of orphans that Sasha's dad has been taking care of. And so they're at this restaurant for the Marleyan. His name is Niccolo. We've seen Niccolo before, and we saw him in an earlier episode. I can't remember the exact episode, but the military police were hanging out, drinking some wine, getting some good laughs in, and then he gives the bottle of wine over to Grease. Apparently it's a really good wine. At this point in the episode, we don't know what it is. This whole scene I think is really great because y'all know the vibes on this channel. Y'all know the vibes on this channel. It's F Gabby all day. Okay, I can't say the word I want to say because I obviously don't want to get demonetized, but we in Team Gabby around here. Gabby, you stay over there, boo-boo. So Gabby and Falco have this plan. They were working with Kaya, who told them that a Marleyan works there, and they have this plan to try to get out of Paradise Island, basically. So they sneak off. Falco fakes a stomach ache, and Gabby runs her big mouth, as she always does, and tells Niccolo that she killed, I'm obviously doing the spark notes so I can get to my thoughts. She kills Sasha. Niccolo does what everybody on this show, every fan wants to do. He grabs the wine bottle, attempts to smack Gabby across the head, and instead he smacks Falco. Oh, my boy is just too good. Okay, my boy is just too good. First of all, he's trying to do too much for Gabby. Let her get her. She might have needed that smack across the head, Falco. Come on now, she might have needed that smack across the head. And then later on, we see Niccolo grabbing Falco, dragging Gabby up the stairs, throws her to the floor, and says she is the one that killed Sasha. It's time to take her out. Hey yo, if you don't want to do it, I got you. Shout out to Niccolo finally doing something that should have been done, giving her some fear in her heart, popping him upside the head, popping them upside the head, which I loved to see. Then we also find out that Niccolo actually loved Sasha, loved her. I want to say they even got married because I believe he said her name was Sasha Brous, and I don't remember if Sasha's last name was always Brous, but I believe her last name was Brous. And I was like, wow, so he really loved my girl. Like, Gabby tries to justify her actions, and I think what I love about each of these episodes is everyone is telling her, why is the killing justified? Why are you so obsessed with taking somebody else out? Like, what? Like, a kill for a kill is not the way it works. Like, isn't that like a saying or something? An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. I don't know, maybe I got that out of fortune cookie. Why does your kill justify the first kill in anyway? Retaliation is not a great thing, and at the end of the day, I love that this is really coming to a head right here in this episode. Sasha's dad, the great guy that he is, I loved what he said. I want to play the clip on here, but obviously I can't play it because of copyright issues and I don't want to get demonetized again. Sasha's dad basically, in summary, says that maybe we've kept the kids in the forest for too long. Maybe once they finally got out into the world saw and hated them for whatever reason, when in actuality, they need to be exposed to the world from the beginning instead of trying to shelter them, instead of trying to keep them safe. And that's the reason why I love the name of this episode, because in reality, Paradise Island is sort of similar to what Sasha's dad is saying. It is this place where the island Eldians have been kept, and now they're finally seeing the world for what it is, and the world hates them. And that's sad, but it's actually true, you know? That's exactly the situation that's going on here. And Sasha's dad says, we want to shoulder the sins of the past as the adults, because if we don't do that as the adults, the kids will constantly come back and try to make retaliation a thing, which is unfortunate. So he ends up dropping the knife. He ends up asking Gabby if she's okay. And honestly, that didn't really catch me by surprise. I think he loved his daughter so much, and I think that deep down Sasha's dad was just saying, Sasha also wouldn't want me to kill a child in retaliation. Listen, personally, I was hoping Gabby was about to get the guy, okay? But it is what it is. And then Kaya, my girl, she had one last attempt breaking up this little kumbaya moment. Kaya said, come here, sis. But of course, as soon as I seen her run up, I said to myself, that ain't gonna happen when Mikasa standing there. Mikasa is standing right there next to Gabby. Ain't no way, my girl Mikasa ain't gonna let nothing happen to Gabby, even though I wish she would. But again, they want to keep these Marleyan children safe. And honestly, I think sort of the scouts are at this point now, and then we see this later on in the episode when Armin says it. He says to Gabby, all you talk about is kill, all you talk about is murder, or something like someone else I know, mentioning, obviously alluding to Eren. After that moment, right, we get Niccolo breaking down exactly what it is about this wine. And at first I was like, Niccolo is kind of off. Like, why is he saying that the soldiers are also captives as Eldians? Like, when he's on the island, just dude seemed a little off to me. But now we get to what he was describing and what he was saying. He pointed out this spinal fluid of Zeke. It goes back to the opening scene that we saw in this episode. Finally, we get the explanation that we need as to why he's being so weird about this wine bottle. And what I think is happening is Zeke and Yelena have a separate plan. If you watch the last video that I made, I said this: Zeke and Yelena, they are plotting. They have a plot. And it's not the one that they told Eren. It's not the one that they told the other island Eldians. Honestly, I don't even know if Eren is in on this wine thing. I honestly don't even know. But I really think, and I know now, there's a whole nother plan, and here is what it is. I think Zeke wants to turn the military against the rest of Paradise Island and use the people that he turns with his spinal fluid into Titans, so that way they can destroy the island from the inside and then go out before the rumbling can even happen. Y'all, it is, I think that's my prediction. Okay, so if somebody wants to bookmark this moment, but that's my prediction. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I think is his plot, but realistically we still don't know. Then we go back to the forest where Levi is still being debriefed by his soldiers, and internally he's struggling. I also love how Mappa animated this moment where we see clips and scenes as Levi's discussing how he felt like Eren was the hope for this world. Why is it now and obviously he's lost so many comrades in the process believing in Aaron. Why is this happening? What is this farce is the word he used, obviously in the English subtitle translation. But what is this farce? Why is this happening? Why is it all spinning on its head like this? So the question that I wrote down as I was watching this scene is, what if Aaron has his own plan? What if he's also manipulating Zeke while Zeke thinks he's manipulating Aaron? You know, but again, an estimated guess. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case, but what if he's also playing manipulation games with Zeke at the same time? So it's just a bunch of plots, and I constantly feel while I'm watching this internal struggle of who to trust versus who not to trust. And it was insane. Now we're back at the restaurant. As I said before, Yelena told Nicolo and the other guy that works there that they need to serve them to the highest ranking officers. And personally, again, I'm convinced that Aaron is unaware of this plan, but Nicolo opted to not give the scouts this wine because I think he still feels that attachment to Sasha. Sasha was obviously a scout, and so he wanted to protect them. And so now we see that they find out about the plan, and then it cuts over to Armin and Mikasa talking to the little thing that is Gabby, and then somebody walks into the room, and I literally say, oh is that Aaron? And literally he walks in, hand dripped in blood. Okay, I was like, the man of the hour, this is the reunion that we've been waiting for. First and foremost, I need the next episode, but he's here. Our trio has reunited, and I'm so ready for what he's about to say. If he knew about the wine, Aaron is not the type of character I thought he was. I really want to believe that Aaron was not aware of the wine. And after that, it cuts back to Fluck and the rest of the Jaegerists. And then you also see the OG scouts walk in and say, like, they're explaining, and Hanji-san is explaining how we've all been fooled by Zeke. We've all been fooled. And then Flock says, well, you know, all the military police, they'll probably get what they deserve. And I'm thinking, I literally think it, and Hanji says it at the same time. She didn't say anything about the military police. So he knew about it the whole time. So obviously they already pointed out in the last episode that they also had internal people working for them across different regiments of the military. And now we see that Flock was definitely one of the leaders, obviously, leading this charge of the Jaegerists and this other plan that they have going on. So, and Aaron wasn't in the room when he says all this. He does this like shush, and I just don't believe Aaron knows. I want to believe that in my heart of hearts. I really want to believe that. In the preview, we see that they're getting ready to have this big conversation. He wants to talk to them. He wants to let Armin and Mikasa know what's going on in his head, and I want to know what's going on in Aaron's head. I'm hoping that he's going to come out and say, you know, like, I'm also manipulating Zeke. But Armin, Mikasa, and Aaron, I want to believe, do not know about the wine. Obviously, we know that they don't know currently about the wine situation because they walked out of the room and got Gabby out of the way. But we also know now that Falco also ingested some of that wine. So I think now he might become like a power of the 9 Titan or something, and maybe he'll hold somebody else's power eventually. He'll turn into a Titan and then have to eat somebody else that they have captive. But again, Peak is still on the island. We didn't see Peak again in this episode, but we saw her on the island as Hanji was going forward, headed to the restaurant, obviously. Now we know that. So this episode, you guys, that's my thoughts. That's where I'm at with everything. I gave the summary and also talked about what I felt. I just really, really want to believe that Aaron was not in on the wine part. But if he was, I won't be completely destroyed and just sad. But realistically, I want to believe you're better than that, Aaron. I want to believe it. If you also want to believe he's better than that, let me know in the comments. What are your thoughts? What did you think about this episode? I thought it was beautifully named. Again, Paradise Island is the forest. The children of the forest are starting to get out into the world and seeing the world for what it actually is. It's not all inherently good. And I think that is a deeper message that that we can all learn as people. You have to always stay on your guard, even if you think you can trust somebody. So yeah, with all of that being said, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video here. Long explanation. Thank you for sitting and watching. I'm so excited for the next episode. If you haven't already, make sure you follow me across all of my social media channels linked down below, especially Twitter. I just made a new Twitter account specifically for my content creation, and I would really appreciate it if you gave it a follow. And as always, subscribe to this channel for more content. So with all that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys.